The internet. We're all familiar with it, and we all use it every day. You're even using it right now to watch this video. Well, what if I told you that the clear web, the one we all use, makes up just 4% of the entire internet? The other 95% is made up of something known as the deep web. Now, this is just encrypted data and private databases. Companies use it all the time. However, you might be wondering why I said 95%. That's because that 1% is made up of something called the dark web. This is where criminals and the absolute filth of society congregate and hosts a variety of depraved sites and services. On the dark web, you can do anything from hire hitmen to watch live streams of actual torture. And that's what the game I'm talking about today is about. Welcome to the Game was released in 2016 by Reflect Studios, which is run by this legend, and was very unique when it released, being one of the first in this specific genre of, as Vote for Holt calls it, cyber horror. That being with the player stuck in one area and heavily interacting with some kind of technology in order to progress. The rest of the Reflect games after this one are also in this vein of cyber horror, and if people find this video enjoyable, then I'll cover the other games in this universe, but this video will focus on the first one only. The premise of Welcome to the Game 1 is the player searching through various messed up sites of the dark web, looking for something, which I'll get into in a bit. Now, this game mixes the aforementioned cyber horror with the very grounded concept of home invasion, as we're also being hunted by two very dangerous threats, a kidnapper and a serial killer, which I will also talk about later. For me, this mixture of horror genres is perfectly unsettling, probably down to just how grounded the whole premise is, as home invasion, the dark web, serial killers, they're all very real things, and these games take advantage of that. Now here's the game from the start. You play as a sick dark web user named Lydia in a suburban house in New York. Well, I'm guessing it's New York, because the second game takes place in an apartment complex in New York. Anyway, you log onto your computer and receive a call from a guy named Adam. Yes, that's the developer. Adam tells you how to access a site known as the Red Room, which is a live stream on the dark web where sadistic people can take part in interactive torture and murder. And for some reason, our character really wants to access it. So yeah, we play as one of the most disgusting protagonists in gaming. Adam says that in order to access the Red Room, we have to manually look for 8 keys on different sites of the dark web, seeing as there's no search engine. The keys are little codes in amongst the text of a site or even in the source code, so you have to really look for them. Once you find all 8 keys, you have to put them together in the right order to form the giant 32-digit Red Room URL and beat the game. However, you have a time limit. The Red Room stream is only active for 30 days at a time, so that's how long you have to access it. An in-game day is 5 minutes, so you have about 2.5 hours to beat the game before the Red Room closes and you lose. Of course, it's not as simple as just searching the net. While searching the dark web, hackers will randomly try and hack your computer, which throws you into a little mini-game. If you fail the mini-game, then the hacker will do one of 3 things: skip days, which brings you closer to day 30, reset you back to 10 PM, or erase your saved notes, such as keys that you found. There are 3 possible hack types that you can receive. A DOS attack, where you have to rotate these arrows in a specific direction to create a path before the time runs out. A kernel attack, where you have to type out 2 long strings of random text and symbols exactly as shown before the time runs out. And a vape attack, where you must make sure no square in the puzzle is horizontal or vertical to any other square before the time runs out. Now, how these random hackers are able to manipulate time and just erase days, I don't know. Some of the most memorable, disgusting sites in Welcome to the Game include the Doll Maker. I won't show any images of this site though, because I'm scared my video will be taken down. This site is run by a German old man who kidnaps random girls and turns them into pleasure dolls. And he actually makes an appearance in Welcome to the Game 2 as an actual threat, so that's great. Another of the sites is called Forgive Me. This is where people can anonymously type confessions that they've done, and yeah, some of these are the most terrible things I've ever read. Funnily enough, this is probably one of the least bad sites though. And another site called Father Donald, which I wouldn't be mentioning if the guy who runs the site wasn't the main antagonist in Adam's first game he worked on, called Rides with Strangers, which I will not cover as there's barely any substance. But his site is just full of religious fanaticism and Bible quotes and how he wants to purge the world of all heretics. Now that you know the objective and premise, let's go over the 2 antagonists of this first game. First, there is the Kidnapper. The Kidnapper is a Russian trafficker who wears a classic burglar outfit with all black clothing and a balaclava. Adam, during his tutorial call, warns us of an urban legend that the further we go into the dark web, the more that the Kidnapper might try and kidnap us. When the Kidnapper is tracking your computer, a small arrow icon will appear for a couple of seconds and disappear. This is your very subtle cue to get up and turn off the lights immediately. Sit in darkness for a while and you'll hear the kidnapper walking around outside your house, and then he will talk in Russian to someone. You will then see him prowl past the window and stay there for a bit. When he is there, do not move or speak or you will instantly die. At least he kidnaps you with manners though.
Добрый вечер.
Oh yeah, this game also uses your microphone, so you actually cannot make any noise. Other than this whole sequence, there are other sound cues and indicators that the kidnapper is in your house, like the sound of things being dropped in a different room or humming, and also one of the dining room chairs being very slightly misplaced, so you have to be very, very observant. The kidnapper also appears in Adam's other games Scrutinized and the Welcome to the Game 3 demo, these being his only appearances so far. The other antagonist is a local serial killer known as the Breather. This creepy fucker clearly takes some inspiration from Ghostface, as you'll see. He wears a bloodstained hoodie and surgical mask and wields a kitchen knife. Adam also warns you of the Breather in a tutorial call, saying that he phones his victims, who consist of dark web users, before striking. The Breather will call you 3 times before he can appear at the front door. The first 2 calls he will, well, breathe, and the calls after that will be either some weird poetic line or a threat. After he calls you a 3rd time, you should regularly, when it is safe, get up and check the front door to see if he's there. There are also sound cues for him if he's approaching the front door, like a van door slamming shut, or the tiniest sound of a doorknob turning. If he is at the front door, then stay out of sight and do not speak. Get ready to brace the door because he will try and sneakily open the door. If he sees you, then he will try and kick it down. If you don't even bother to check the front door, then he will sprint into the room and stab you while cackling like Ghostface. And that's about the long and short of the first Welcome to the Game. A bit of a short video, but as I said, if this video does well, then I'll make videos on Adam's other games too, which have more substance. I'll also talk in those videos about how the games fit together, and maybe in the future, a complete lore video. Adam is currently working on Welcome to the Game 3, which was actually due to release in April, but it hasn't come out yet. That just means it's coming out very soon though, and then it'll be of the best quality. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to get the word of Grimteak out there, and support my channel. Thank you so much to anyone who watches to the end. I really appreciate anyone who does. I love knowing that I'm entertaining even a small amount of people with my random videos rambling about horror games. Thanks for watching, and bye bye. If you don't even bother to check the front door, then he will sprint into the room and stab you while you're— well, this creepy fucker. Adam during his tutorial. Skip days, which brings— while searching the dark web, hackers will— that's because that 1% is made of— Adam tells you how to access a site. No.